If you have ever sat down in Dr. Hettiarachi's office, you'll be transported back to 1976. For some, that may make you feel uneasy, like sitting in an outdated restaurant. You're hoping the food they serve hasn't been outdated also. But for me, and many of his loyal patients, you feel at ease. There is a simplicity in the way he examines and questions you, always leaving no stone unturned.
Now, my style of practice was always I gave time to the patient from the very word go. Go back to 1976. My consultations were always longer than the average, and sometimes what they call the long consultation, prolonged consultation. So this was basically not only my ethics, my philosophy, that if a patient demands time, you must give it. What's the point in seeing the patient? But of course, while I say this, the dilemma for the doctor is that they were lumbered with large numbers, and unfortunately, the doctor was pushed into a situation where he had to deal with somebody very summarily, short. And I have coined the words hello goodbye consultation. Not fair to say this, but that's my experience. And you come, and within few minutes you have said goodbye and given a script or some sort of thing, and not really attended to. But I didn't think that in medicine you could do that. In medicine you needed time, your head, your eyes and hands to deal with the patient, not gadgetry. Gadgetry has become the main mode of practice today, which is not going to do anything to the patient. And you are putting your head in the gadgetry. The gadgetry must be in your head to deal with the patient's requirements. And that is the philosophy with which I have worked. So working with my own head, the best computer in the world, I would say, the head, the brain, I need time. So that is the ground, those are the grounds on which I have given you, Dean, whatever time you demanded for your needs. Otherwise it's useless. You only think back and think for yourself whether that time I had given you and the opportunities that I have given you have done any good to you. That should come from you, not from, well, while I make my own observations, you undoubtedly will be able to say to me, oh yes, because of your such and such, I got this such and such, I went such and such and that far, and so on and so forth. So the advent of these so-called 8, 10, 12 doctor practices meant that you are not really practicing on your own accord. You have a management. The management knows nothing but numbers and, of course, the fees thereof. So, unfortunately, medicine got commercialized. Now, I did not want to give room for this myself in my practice. Even today, I give a lot of time and a lot of opportunity for people to deal with me and get their things attended to. I don't think in terms of time or the fee. I think in terms of the patient need and the requirements and what I should actually do as a doctor. This marvelous thing called the doctor only can sort out patient needs and nobody else. And the doctor, of course, must for that have the time, his head, eyes and hands freely working and not working through gadgetry. And so, in short, I have no computer on my desk. People ask. I said, yes, I have a computer sitting on the chair. It's my head, I point out. So some people understand, some people don't. But my own computer in the head has worked wonders. And if you ask the Royal College of Practitioners in Melbourne, they have evidence now that my quality assurance is via the medium of my head computer and practice methods, and not via gadgetry. This is very, very important thing I must point out. There are the wonderful stories we can bring out. It will take hours, and you haven't got those hours. Now, meaning the people that I have virtually saved from the Faulkner Cemetery, many, dozens, and via the medium of practice of cardiology and oncology meaning tumor medicine. If properly practiced, you can save life. And I have done that. Proudly I can say. I don't want to talk about myself in this matter. If you have any questions, raise it with all the consultants of the Northern Hospital Epping, all the consultants of Austin Hospital Heidelberg. And I don't want to mention names. There are specific names that will come out. You can ask any one of them, do you know this Dr. Hettiarachi? And what are your impressions of him? Ask any other private they will tell you. I don't have to repeat this or perhaps sing praise of myself. No. I have practiced according to my own ethics and philosophy, and all I can say is been extremely successful in saving life.
I'll leave you with Dr. Hettiarachi summing up Thomastown, its diversity, its subsequent success, and what it is to be Australian.
Thomastown became a very, very multicultural, multiracial, multinational, multi-religious.
There's that phone again.
Now, as I said, it was a very, very multicultural community, which, of course, was enriched over the years by the influx of various communities, nationalities, races, and so on and so forth. In the recent times, we had the influx of course, the Vietnamese population, the Chinese population, the African population, Asians, many, many like that. And Thomastown is one of the very good examples, I would say. We are not a very rich region. We are working class region, and therefore we must understand what that means. We all have to go to work, go to the same schools here locally. The children have to go to the same schools, and so we live in this community quite harmoniously and well. And I think, to my knowledge, some of the children I have known achieved very high and gone to universities and become great personalities. I know lawyers. I cannot quite recall offhand a doctor, and many other categories, managerial positions and so on and so forth. So outcome is that out of our good community, though multicultural, we have become very, very good Australians serving the community. So which is a great pride to these people of Thomastown, Lelo and the surrounding suburbs. I feel that with in the very near future we would achieve even more when our educational facilities improve, become better, and the children achieve higher. So this is one of the things I could say. I look at it in terms of the existing society or community and the incoming society of the future. This is very important. After all, Australia's future is that incoming population. The children who get educated and who become the worthwhile citizens of this community. So I can very proudly say they're all English speaking here, most of them. Even the people who have come from elsewhere have attempted to speak English, and in my practice majority are non-English speaking people. They come and speak English with me. Amazing though. And I understand them. Sometimes, very extremely rarely, a daughter or a granddaughter is needed for interpretation, but most of them come and that attempt to speak English and become Australian is one of the marvelous features, or if not a cardinal feature, of this region. The last thing I must say is these are my personal impressions. I mean, there might be people who differ. When we look at Australia as a very, very fortunate place, Melbourne, the most living capital, living city in the world, 6 consecutive times. There's no other country that can match up with Melbourne. And then we are a very, very peaceful, non-violent country, and we hope it remains so, and we will be, no doubt, in the future a most desired country in the world. In fact, when I go elsewhere, I say, when I'm asked, where do you come from? I say, I come from the heaven in the world. And where is that? That is a place down under called Australia.
Thanks for listening to This Thomo Life. This Thomo Life was proudly brought to you by Yarra Plenty Regional Libraries, Thomastown branch.
Thank you, Dean.
Departing Thomastown.